welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome the South Coast Community Choral who start off our ceremony today. Please stand. Thank you very much. We will be hearing from them again at the end of the ceremony, but right now I'd like to welcome the Reverend Don Meir for our invocation.
Unless the Lord builds this house, the laborers will work in vain. Thank you, O God, for this very holy work, not just for this place, but for the renovation and revitalization of Greater Fall River. We thank you for the companionship of one another to help us stay focused. We ask for tenacity and patience, endurance, and courage. May your generous spirit continue to pour out unto all your people and fill us with joy, grace, and peace. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Meir. Reverend Meir is not only a neighbor across the street at the First Baptist Church, but he's also a loyal YMCA member who's in here pretty much every day working out. So we appreciate the support, Reverend. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Fall River groundbreaking ceremony. Woo! Come on! It's been a long time coming, And it was literally 110 years ago that volunteers rallied around a common belief and mission to build this YMCA in Fall River. Today we honor that heritage and that history as we revitalize our historic building for the next century. Due to the time, the help, the support, and the donations from many standing here, in January of 2015, there will be a new building behind me. The outside will look the same, but the inside will be totally different. I just want to talk for a second about what the building is going to look like. We got a lot of people coming up here who are going to talk, and I'm going to try and cut mine short. But imagine a whole brand new entrance right here in through the building. There will be handicap accessibility, something we have never had in this building. So there's a segment of the population that we have been unable to address and work with. We will be able to address and work with that population after this. When you walk into that new handicap entrance, picture on the left, you'll be able to look down into our auditorium, which is the pool, the building right behind us, which was the last major renovation in 1964. Okay? When you go to our second and third floors, we'll be dealing with youth development and healthy living, a core of what we do at the YMCA nationally and here locally. Okay? We will have 2 floors of healthy living to expand our Live Strong program. You'll hear from one of our participants later. And to start a diabetes program. Okay? The other half will be dealt with youth development, okay, for our after-school program and our summer camp program. And then finally, our 4th floor will be our social responsibility piece, where we will deal with the educational achievement gap here in Fall River by building an 8,000 square foot educational achievement center, which you'll hear more about also. I could honestly sit here as people who know me and go for hours and hours about this project. We do have plans back there. There will be a tour at 1 o'clock. Please feel free to come and ask any of the staff about the plans or go for a tour. Okay? But now, a couple of quick housekeeping things. Hats. People got hats. We will engrave them. Bring them back there if you want them engraved. We will get them mailed to you. We will also be doing more pictures at the end, which I'll get to in a second. Okay? I'd like to quickly recognize some people, though, who are here in attendance. First and foremost is our newly re-elected Mayor of Fall River, the Honorable Mayor Will Flanagan. And then I also believe our City Council Chair is here, Linda Pereira. Is she somewhere in the crowd? Oh, I'm sorry, Linda, she's right in front of me the whole time. And I believe that's it for people who are connected politically. Is Sheriff Hodgson here? No. Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to introduce some people to come up to help us out here. Come on up, Vanessa. Come on. We have some participants here in our program who are going to help introduce our next speaker.
Hi, my name is Caitlin, and these are some of my Y friends. We are very excited to be here today and be a part of this special event representing the kids of our community. We swim here, attend camp here, exercise, laugh, play, and learn here. We are growing up at this Y. We represent the future of the Fall River YMCA, and it is our great honor to introduce one of the special people who continue to make it possible for us to learn and grow here at the Y, Dr. Jean McCormick, head of the Education Advisory Committee.
Thank you very much. As I've already told the mayor, there's his competition in 20 years. I'm so happy to be here and so honored to chair the Educational Advisory Committee. As Frank said, we're going to have a 4th floor completely dedicated to education in a community like ours where it's so important that kids have the opportunity to succeed. I'm a perfect example, a kid who grew up in Dorchester in a working class family, the first one in their family to go to college, would never have had all the opportunities I had without school. We cannot let our children not succeed. And this Educational Advisory Committee, I've got some of my members here, is composed of people who want to add to what is happening in the Fall River schools. And I want to say how cooperative and collaborative the people from Fall River have been in helping us to try to develop an after-school program that will reinforce the skills that students need while having fun, so it doesn't feel like you're still in school after you leave school. combining it with the Y. So we are terrifically excited about the ability to bring creative people together, all volunteers, work with the Great Y staff. And we know there's a promise of something because we did a pilot program this summer. And looking at the data, in the summer, kids lose a little bit of what they've learned in the year, and there's a catch-up period that has to go on in September. And with some of the data that the Fall River schools have given us of the students who participated in our summer pilot, it's very promising. 4 out of 5 made more gains than normally kids do over the summer months. So we know we're on to something that could really work successfully for many more students. Making this possible is a whole bunch of people, and I want to say it is my honor to be able to work with them and see the creative ideas from retired teachers who are looking to do something to give back to young energetic students from BCC and UMass and the Great Y staff. We've got something going. I want to say personally thank you to Chuck and Stacy Charlton and to the trustees who are here with them, because they have been so generous in our community, very generous at the University of Massachusetts and, of course, at South Coast Hospitals. They're the early believers who say, yes, we can do this. And then so many people come along. So we're going to see in January of 2015 a transformed 4th floor for education. So I'm delighted.
Thank you, Jean, and thank you, Jean, for volunteering your time to help us out with this Education Steering Committee. We definitely made the right choice in asking you and you honoring us with that volunteer time, just like we did with the chair for our steering committee, Mr. Nick Christ, who I believe we got that one just right, to have him as the head of our steering committee for that. No pun intended. But this Y has been built on volunteers. Okay, everyone you see up here, besides Gary and myself, all volunteers. And I'd like to bring up another, in a sense, volunteer to recognize, as I mentioned, our new re-elected mayor, the Honorable Will Flanagan.
Frank, thank you. And first, let me say it's an honor to be here. We had our election yesterday and back to work this morning. And to be here for this groundbreaking signifies a multi-million-dollar investment in our city. It's a multi-million-dollar investment in our people, a multi-million-dollar investment in our youth, and a multi-million-dollar investment in our future. And to see the YMCA go through this renovation, to have the wellness center focusing on health and body, allowing people to come here to improve their quality of life. But most importantly, to have that focus on education, to have our children be able to come here and have the opportunity to continue their learning, to help close that educational gap and that achievement gap, to have that educational center on the 4th floor. It's about generational responsibility in our community. And to be able to see our children here today, to know that this YMCA is going to be here for our community, for our children, for our families, signifies brighter days for the city of Fall River. And to be the mayor, to be here today at this groundbreaking, you have our entire city's support. We want to see you continue to succeed here at the YMCA because your success is our city's success. And to have that component for education signifies how important school is to our children. For them to be able to come here and get tutoring and resources after school to help them continue to move forward in their educational career really is a testament to the great work you do here. I also want to thank the sponsors here today too, many of whom are listed behind us. You can't do this project without good sponsors. And it takes money to do a project like this. And I want to thank all the sponsors for putting their checkbooks, they're putting their money where their mouth is to making sure that the city of Fall River is giving back to its community. But most importantly, as Frank already outlined, the volunteers. You do this day in and day out. without a paycheck, without any recognition. You do it because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good to see the smile on a family's face, to see a child coming here in a safe environment. That's what it's about. It's about family. It's about commitment. It's about rejoice, renew, revitalize. That's the Fall River YMCA. And I say congratulations on behalf of the entire city. Groundbreakings are nice. Ribbon cuttings are even better. And I look forward to coming back to the ribbon cutting. God bless everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And I love the way you wove in that Rejoice, Renew, Revitalize. Very good. And we will be opening and have you here next year as we move forward with the ribbon cutting. I'd now like to introduce the President and CEO of YMCA South Coast, Gary Schuyler, who will explain a little bit more about the project. Gary Schuyler.
So the Red Sox won, our mayor got reelected, and we have a groundbreaking. Good week, huh? I agree, Gene. I think we're looking at his competition 20 years from now right here in the front row. Thank you for coming. My job, as Frank said, is to tell you a little bit about why and how we got here, and but also to thank some of the very, very important behind-the-scene folks. Nick's going to talk about the effort to raise the funds here, but I'm going to talk about some of the behind-the-scenes folks. But first, a little background. In 2005, YMCA South Coast merged with the Fall River Y, and the first thing we did was work on a strategic plan, and obviously the discussion of what to do with this physical plant was a key topic. And the outcome was a decision that it was important that the Y stay here. And there were many reasons for that, but there were two key items that jumped out. One is we felt that it was a great anchor for this end of downtown, the downtown business district, and also that it provided valuable services to the immediate neighborhood. We knew that the leaders of Fall River in 1898, 115 years ago, felt it was important that there be a Y here at this location, and they built the first component of what was then going to be 4 different stages, with the 4th stage being the pool in 1964. I know the Charlton Family Trust supported our pool, that endeavor in 1964. As the Fall River leaders felt it was important to have a Y at this location, our present leadership did as well, and we felt it was important to honor that legacy and preserve a landmark YMCA. We've been at this for a long time with many starts and stops, and looking through some meeting notes and preparing for this day, I came across the date of May 9th, 2005, when we had our very first design meeting with myself, Frank Duffy, our architect Jane Gleason, and a national consultant on Y design, a guy by the name of Rod Grosier. So that was 8.5 years ago. We've been persevering for 8.5 years. And although our final design is a little bit different than what we came up with 8.5 years ago, I'm sure all of you are going to be pleased with what we've come up with when you see the construction unfold. At this time, I'd like you to go to the back of your program, because this is the kind of the behind the scenes where I'm thanking those behind the scenes to make this happen. And there's a lot of folks, and you look at the back of the program and you think, well, how do all those folks, how are they involved with the Fall River YMCA? What makes them special? So I want to start off by thanking our design team. They're all listed there, all the engineers, but in particular our architect Jane Gleason, and she is here somewhere. Jane, can you she's hiding in the back there, but thank you, Jane, for persevering with us these 8.5 years. Jane designed our YMCA in Wareham, and it is a fabulous facility and appreciated by the entire community. But I also want to thank Bill and Steve Smith and Ford Construction. They're sitting back there. Bill's waving. They've been with us. We've been working with Ford Construction. I think this is our 6th project with them, and they're going to do a great job, and we're looking forward to seeing the results. It's a complicated project costing more than $10 million. Many people did not believe it could be done, and some were even doubtful about investing in such an old building. But through a really interesting blend of different funding sources, it can be done, and it is being done. And a key component is certainly the $4.5 million community campaign that we're doing, that Nick is chairing up. But in addition to that, there's about $5.5 million in new market and historic tax credits that are coming to this project and that are making this possible. And I want to thank the people who have made that piece possible, because we would not be here celebrating this historic occasion without them choosing to invest in Fall River and in a YMCA project here in Fall River. First, on the consultant side, we've had a man, Bob Goldstein, kind of lead us through this whole project, and he has led us and cajoled and encouraged and informed, and he's, Bob, just stand up, Bob. You're more important than you think, Bob. Bob has been our point person on this one, and we really appreciate it. We've got a local man on the ground, Mark Levin, a local attorney who's led us through the zoning and permitting process, and I think Mark is here. Are you here, Mark? Well, if you see Mark on the street, just please thank him. We have our own corporate attorneys at Halloran, Lukoff, and Smith, Murray Lukoff and John Tierney, and they're here as well, and thank you for participating. And our new attorney on the tax credit side at Klein Hornig in Boston, Joe Lieber, my new favorite Boston attorney now that my son has moved from Boston to New Bedford. There's Maureen Kavanaugh here. Maureen Kavanaugh's in the way back there. Maureen, thank you. Maureen has led us through the historic tax credit maze, and very successfully so. So thank you, Maureen, for all you've done. A wonderful lady, too. So not counting the design and the construction and the consultants I just mentioned, there are 14 other organizations that we had to have supported to make this happen. 14. And they're mentioned on the back of the program. Frank already thanked the mayor for his effort, but we need to thank Roger Herzog and Children's Investment Fund and CDAC for their early faith in our project and investing in some of the financing for the upfront development costs. I know they couldn't make it. Our primary business bank, Santander, for supporting this effort. John Silver and his team. John's right over there. Wave, John. He's got the Santander colored tie on, you can tell. Thank you, John. MHIC, Massachusetts Housing Investment Corps. Paul Chan and Kathy McGilver. Kathy is here. Thank you for explaining. Where is Kathy? Kathy, thank you for explaining how the new market tax credits work, awarding them to this project in Fall River, and holding our hands through the project. Holding our hands. Kathy, you've been a rock star for us. Thank you. And Mass Development, Pat Sluter and company, thank you for joining MHIC with this project as well and supporting it. It's also important to recognize probably one of the most important players in this initiative, and that is U.S. Bancorp Community Development Corporation. They're the ones that are buying the new market tax credits, and we're going to be netting about $3.5 million from that investment. And Laura Vowell is here somewhere, and she's right there. Laura Vowell came up from Washington, D.C. to be with us today. So thank you, Laura. That's pretty cool. Coming up from Washington, D.C. I think you get the longest person who's traveled the longest. Well, no, you don't. Over there, they came from the West Coast. That's right. To be here. Okay, well, you get the second longest. Buying the historic tax credits is Bob Dorfman and facilitating the purchase of them, and I know he couldn't be here. Kristen Harrell from Life Initiative is here. Kristen, wave you right over there. Thank you for investing in those credits, and certainly the Mass Historic Commission for awarding them. But last but not least, we would not be anywhere without our local consortium of community banks who are providing the critical financing. That's Bay Coast, Bristol Community Savings Bank, Bank 5, and Mechanics Cooperative Bank. Fall River is blessed to have such a strong contingent of community banks led by such wonderful community mind leaders as Nick Christ, Pat Murray, Bill Eccles, and Joe Batista. And at this time, I need to lift up Ann Auger. Where is Ann? Somewhere in the crowd. Ann is in the back over there. Wave, Ann. Ann is leading the consortium that's making this happen and holding our hand as well. So we really appreciate. She's been another rock star for this. I certainly need to thank our team at the Y, our corporate board, who've been so supportive, led by our chair Peter Bullard. Frank and his staff for persevering. I didn't think it was going to take 8.5 years, but we've persevered 8.5 years from it. Certainly the staff from the other branch who are helping out. I think there were some of them over there stitching your name. We're stitching. We can tell you're not from a textile community, Frank. It's stitching. Stitching, not engraving. But that's all right. The association staff was always willing to do anything. Our CFO, Bob Trahan, who is losing his hair as we go through this project. Where are you, Bob? He's back there. Certainly my wife of 38 years for the patience as we've done this. I'm sure all of you know of some landmark building that was a vibrant part of your community's past, but is no longer around. We're going to ensure that this landmark building will be here for generations to come and will continue to be an important center for community life for many, many years. A year and a half ago, a supporter and I went to call on somebody to enlist support for this project, and when we left, the individual I was with said, "I have goosebumps." And I said, "You have goosebumps?" And he said, "Yeah, I have goosebumps." And I said, "How come?" And he said, "Because if I do this, if we're successful, this will be the most important thing besides raising my kids that I have done." That's pretty cool. The most important thing. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce somebody who needs no introduction to Fall River. Fall River is blessed to have a family, such as the Charltons, who believe in using their resources to better a community. Their legacy is felt in almost every part of the city, and that includes this YMCA. They have supported the Y in a meaningful way in the past, and are doing so again today. We could not have made the strides we have made with our private campaign if it weren't for their generosity. They set the tone with their leadership gift of $1 million. And unknown to many of you, they have played a quiet role in helping us focus so much of our energy on the education component that Jean spoke of. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Chuck and Stacy Charlton.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here today. We flew in from sunny California, and we brought the weather with us today. I can't promise anything for tomorrow. But, you know, the YMCA been here a long, long time. I sort of remember the swimming pool, and we took care of that. And we have tried to do as much for this community, southeastern Massachusetts, as we possibly can, because my grandfather started the family here, and he loved it here. And we feel that the money from the trust should generally come to this area. We have all four of the Charlton trustees here today. That's very unusual, but they arranged this so that they knew we were coming in for another meeting this afternoon. And I'd like to introduce Augusta Haydock over here. And Mike Garfield. And the newest member of our trust, my daughter, Stacy Charlton. We feel that Fall River is an historic city in many ways, and we've always felt that we want to make a difference, and that's a phrase I probably use over and over and over. If you can't make a difference, don't even do it. And it took them a little time to tell me how we were supposed to put $1 million into a building that was built in the 1890s. And they did it, and they convinced us that this building should stay. And Fall River is blessed with so many fine institutions like this, and the great Boys and Girls Club, along with the YMCA. Should be very proud of what you have here. And at this time, I don't want to delay it too much longer, but Gary, I have a check here for you for $200,000, and it's the first check in our $1 million that's in a letter. And I just want to give my daughter Stacy just a minute. You have something to say? Okay.
Don't turn in, brother. So I remember coming here with my father about a year ago, and going up the steps, had to push him up. So I know a lot of families have grown up here, and it was sad to think that in a year or two my dad wouldn't be able to come into the building. So now in a year or two, he won't be in a wheelchair, but he'll be able to go up the accessible ramp in the modernized building, and families will be able to grow up here from when they're younger until they get a little older. So it's exciting to see, and I'm glad that the first funds have sparked the community to also get involved. So thank you to everyone that's contributed to.
Thank you, Chuck and Stacy. It's an honor to have you here. I'd like to quickly, a couple of people snuck in while I was up here before introducing that I'd just like to quickly mention that they're here. And one is City Councilman Ray Mitchell. He's right there. Ray, thank you. And we have a newly elected City Council, Paul De Silva. I believe Paul, I saw him somewhere. There he is over there, Paul. And I believe Peter Daly is here representing Caraviola. Is Peter here somewhere? There he is, Peter Caraviola. And I think Pedro, are you still here from Senator Rodriguez? Is he here? Somewhere back there. Okay, he was here. Just left. Okay, thank you. I'd now like to bring up a participant in one of our programs that we have here that'll look at being expanded in the new Healthy Living area on the second and third floor. And that is Arthur Aruda, who is a graduate of our Live Strong program, which is a cancer survivor program. Arthur, please come up.
Thank you very much. As Frank said, I am representing the Live Strong program and all of the participants present and past that completed the program. I completed the program last December. I was so impressed with the program that I joined in January and pretty much a regular here. I can't stay away. I feel so, if I don't come to the gym, I just don't feel good that day. And I'd like to sneak in a thank you to our hero, our trainer, Susan Piacenti. She's driven us, a lot of us, to stick out the program and join. The next job is to introduce the chairman and CEO of the Bay Coast Bank, also the chairman of the Leadership Advisory Council, Mr. Nicholas Christ.
That's okay. I prefer the latter. Yeah. Well, thanks, Arthur. And congratulations on your personal success with the Wise Live Strong program. It's your stories and others like it that motivate all of us to work on this project. I'd like to begin my remarks by thanking my fellow members of the Wise campaign's the steering committee. We've been working for more than a year as we've advocated for this revitalization project and what it means to our community. The steering committee members' names are listed in your program. At this time, I'd ask them to stand and be recognized. If you're standing, just wave, please. I'd also want to thank and recognize a very special individual who's with us today, Dr. David S. Greer, who serves as our honorary chair of the Fall River YMCA Capital Campaign. Dr. Greer and his wife, Marion, have long been active and contributing members of our community here in Fall River. As many of you know, Dr. Greer served as Dean of Medicine in the Brown Medical School from 81 to 92 and is now Dean of Medicine Emeritus. Dr. Greer is a quiet, humble man and one of Fall River's great citizens. He is also a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, having been so honored in 1985 for his work as a founder of the International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War. And Dr. Greer is with us today because he's a longtime supporter of the Y, and I'd personally like to thank Dr. Greer for his participation. The Fall River YMCA Capital Revitalization Project is all about making a commitment to Fall River and its people. As a historic preservation project, it's a commitment to the history of Fall River. As an anchor property in the center of our city, it is a commitment to downtown Fall River and the neighborhood surrounding the facility. As an organization that promotes wellness and active lifestyles, it's a commitment to the health of Fall River. And as a leading provider of youth programs and services, and now dedicating an entire floor of the facility to serve the educational needs of Fall River's children and families, this project makes a strong commitment to our youth of Fall River. A project like this doesn't happen without support we've received from our generous donors. I invite you to look at the banner, which has already been mentioned today, which lists the individuals and organizations from across our city who have made significant commitments to the campaign. Without question, there are two individuals I'd like to give a special mention to, and certainly that's Chuck and Stacy Charlton. Thank you so much. To be blunt, this project would not have been launched without their generous support. You talked about early believers, I think, Chancellor. They are just that. In a little over a year, when we finished this job and cut the ribbon on our newly revitalized state-of-the-art YMCA, I look forward to shaking Chuck and Stacy's hands and thanking them for making this happen. Once again, the Charlton family is adding to its legacy of leadership and commitment to the community that continues to benefit the people of Fall River. A list of additional major donors to our campaign reads like a who's who. I had an owl out in front of the house this morning, but a who's who in Greater Fall River. The Rogers Family Foundation, Bay Coast Bank, Bristol County Savings Bank Foundation, South Coast Health System, Mechanics Cooperative Bank, Bank 5, the Robert F. Stoico Charitable Foundation, Primacare, George Alden Trust, St. Anne's Credit Union, Carl and Susan Hetzler, Blount Fine Foods, Matuk, Arbella Insurance Foundation, Gold Medal Bakery, Borden and Remington. Please join me in thanking all of them for their generous support. Moving forward, we ask everyone to help us continue our successful fundraising efforts as we launch the next phase of the effort, the community campaign. As I said earlier, when we support this project, we support our city's history, the health and welfare of our people, and perhaps most importantly, we support the youth who will inherit this community. So please be generous, both with your contributions and with your time, by volunteering to help our community campaign. Thank you.
If I could ask the following individuals to come up for a ceremonial shovel groundbreaking, obviously Chuck and Stacy, if you can join us. We got Nick Christ, if you can come up, Nick, and join us as our lead volunteer. We also have Peter Bullitt, who is the chair of YMCA South Coast Board. And I'd like to also invite Joe Costa, our branch board chair, to come up for the picture. And let's go, Madison, come on. And in 1872, R.A. Brayton, a name known well in Fall River for their philanthropic needs and volunteerism, donated $120 to the YMCA of Fall River in 1872. This is that check from 1872. It has a stamp on it that's from 1872. I thought we could quickly solve the issue of raising money by selling that stamp from 100 and something years ago, but unfortunately it's only worth $7. So we only have about 400.5 million something to go. And then also, this property that we stand on was also donated to us, okay, by another family that's well known in the Fall River area and still has a place right up the road, and that's the Waring family, okay? They donated this land in 1893 to us, and this is the original handwritten deed. So in 1893, we had individuals like you here who were stepping up to help and volunteer to make the Y happen. These people had a belief in what was going on, okay, and where we were going to be. Are we ready for shovel turning? I think you need to actually grab a shovel. You need to touch the shovels and turn them over. Some of these kids were part of our summer learning program, which you heard Gene talk about earlier, and the great results that they had. But has everybody got a shovel? We're gonna do a little countdown. If everyone can get a shovel in, and we'll turn it over. A shovel in. All right, everybody. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put it up. Yay. Excellent. We will have an opportunity once the program is done. Again, if you would like to come up and have your picture taken here with the shovels or down by the backhoe, we do have a photo list of people. You're more than welcome to come up and get your picture taken, and we'll get it to you. The same with the hats. It's nice to see some people already wearing those hats that are embroidered with their name on the back of it. Which is great to see. So speaking of, we're going to bring up our next person. Thank you very much, everybody. Chair of our board at YMCA South Coast, and that is Peter Bullard. But he does, and has been told he looks like Brad Pitt. And he told us he wanted a hat. So he's been bugging me for his hat. So here is his official hat with his name on the back of it. Peter, thank you.
It's great being delusional. This is a glorious day, and it's nice to see Frank so happy. As many of you know, Frank is a Yankee fan, and for the last 2 months he's been crying. So it's nice to see Frank smile. My father told me years ago that the secret to a good speech is to have a good opening, a good ending, and to make sure that they're very close together. So I want to channel my inner David Ortiz and Big Papi, and I'd just like to say, this is our Y, this is our city, and thank you all for making our Y and our city better. Every single one of you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at the ribbon cutting in a couple of months. The contractor said it was going to be done by Friday.
He didn't specify which Friday. Thank you all.
Thank you, Peter, I think. He never loses an opportunity to dig me for that sometimes. It's amazing. We'll get back next year, hopefully. I'd now like to bring up the South Coast Community Choral again to sing a song. As we said, we've been talking about history here today. So for those in Fall River, or from Fall River, you're probably going to be familiar with this song. But it's entitled The Old Fall River Line, and it's actually on your program brochure. And just a quick history of the Old Fall River Line. The song was composed in 1913 by Jerome and Sterling. And the Fall River Line was a combination steamboat railroad between New York, Peter, and Boston. And it would actually stop here in Fall River, and then a railway would take them from here up to Boston. So that is the significance of the song. The origin of the Fall River Line was a Colonel Richard Borden. Again, he built the line in 1856, and it actually operated from 1847 to 1937. And this is a song from that time as we celebrate history and Fall River. You guys, take it over.
Take a trip to Boston. It's fine sailing up the bay, boys. Hooray, boys. I was on the upper deck when I met mine. I said, Sue, in your sailor suit, you look certainly cute on the old Fall River line. On the old Fall River line. I fell for Susie's line of talk, and Susie fell for mine. And we fell in with the parson, and he tied us tight as twine. But I wish, oh Lord, I fell overboard on the old Fall River line. On the old Fall River line. On the old Fall River line. I fell for Susie's line of talk, and Susie fell for mine. Then we fell in with the parson, and he tied us tight as twine. But I wish, oh Lord, I fell overboard on the old Fall River line.
The ladies can come up to do their kick again if they'd like to. If you didn't see them in the back, they were kicking it. I do want to thank again the South Coast Community Choral, and Frank Wilhelm is also on our board. Fantastic job. Thank you very much, guys. We are ready to wrap this up. A couple of last things. Again, there's plenty of food left. Go eat. You want to talk about the plans, we'll be back there. There is a tour at 1 o'clock. And hats, if you want it engraved, please bring it out there if you haven't already picked it up. Okay? And then embroidered, whatever, we can engrave it too. And then we also will be doing a tour at 1 o'clock. A tour at 1 o'clock. 1:30, I was just told. 1:30 will be a tour if you'd like to. Otherwise, everybody, thank you very much for coming to this historic event. We look forward to seeing you and your support in the future. We'll see you in 2015. Thank you.